you were in the room yesterday,
Yeah.
I mean, you questioned him. Did he convince you that he's got enough experience to head up the Pentagon?
Yeah, look, I think his focus will be on lethality. He comes from a background of actually being on the ground. He's one of the recipients of the resources that we provide. They know, he knows what was working and what was not when it came to the actual warfighter. This is something that we've been missing lately, and I think when President Trump decided that he wanted a warfighter to lead the department, he didn't want a general. He wanted somebody who had actually been boots on the ground and who had been in the fight and who knew what it meant to ask for equipment or supplies and either receive it or not receive it. He wanted to know, what happened with communications, what happens with the supply chains. And Pete Hegseth is one of those guys that's experienced that. The support from the veterans community was evident yesterday. And so I think he brings something new to the table with regard to leading the department. He'll bring a fresh set of eyes in. He'll ask more questions. So I think he's the right guy at this time to lead the department. And I think he will be accepted by the United States Senate.
And what do you make of Democrats pressing Hegseth repeatedly over his alleged personal conduct? Everything from drinking to infidelity. I mean, I think two things can be true at once, right? You could be worried about some of those allegations and probably think he's the right guy for the job. I mean, did anything worry you yesterday?
There was nothing that was of surprise, and there was nothing that was news to us. And so many of us who had met with Mr. Hegseth beforehand and with his wife, we told them that you will have very hard questions from our Democrat colleagues. You're going to have to answer them in public. You're going to have to be able to explain what happened. You're going to have to make an argument on your own behalf in the public's eye, where not only the American public can view your responses, but the members of the Senate can, as well as the President of the United States. And you want to receive the confidence of all of them. And so our Democrat colleagues were doing what you would expect them to do. They were asking the hard questions. And at the same time, Republicans were doing our best to focus on the strategic side of the Department of Defense. What do you bring to the table? What are the challenges? How will you respond? What do you do in terms of the first steps as you step into that position? What type of help are you going to ask for? What are the resources that you're expecting that you're going to need? Those are the types of things that we focused on. Our Democrat colleagues focused a lot on his personal background.
Speaking of hard questions, I can't let you go without asking about John Ratcliffe today. You're going to press him as well. What can the American people expect you to ask when that starts up this morning of him?
Look, John Ratcliffe, who has been nominated to be the director of the CIA, already has a history here in the United States Senate. He's been approved once already previously for a different position. But I think Republicans and Democrats alike will ask more procedural questions and about things that he needs to do to change the focus within the CIA. I don't think this is going to be contentious. I think that it will be constructive. You'll have two different hearings. The first one will be an open hearing in which it'll be in front of the American public, and we will ask questions of him at that time about his belief with regard to how we collect our data. 702, which is a part of a reform effort that is there to it really brings a huge amount of information in to our intelligence agencies, and how he's going to respond to making sure that is maintained. Behind closed doors, it'll be more of a conversation. And I'll just share with you, behind closed doors in both the Armed Services Committee and on the Intelligence Committee, you can't tell the difference in many ways between Republicans and Democrats. Our focus is on our national defense, gathering the appropriate information and effectively using it. And it is two of the best committees any member could ever be on.
Yeah, well, we'll be watching again closely today, but probably a very different day from the one we had yesterday. Senator Mike Rounds, thank you so much, sir.
Yes.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yeah.